And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Seven Kingdoms. This is a game from Korea where there's 7 kingdoms fighting and you're trying to get powerful people on your side. None of that really matters that much. It's just a game of trying to play cards cleverly. Let's take a look at how it works. At the beginning of the game, each player, you're going to play a bunch of crests out here. You can see that there's 7 different crests, and you're going to draw cards randomly from a deck and put one card underneath. Now these cards show different types of characters, like for example, here's a king, here's a knight, here's a princess, and so on. Each card has some different abilities. We'll talk about that in a moment. And each card also matches one of the crests. The king has 2 of this crest, he has one of the red crest. The cards in the deck go from 1 to 49. All right, so every card is numbered differently. Players are going to start with some cards, and they're on your turn. There's a starting player token. Each player is going to play a card. So let me just show basically how it's going. Let's say I play this card first, and then player 2 plays this card, player 3 plays this card, and player 4 plays this one here. Now, you play these cards face up, so you can see what other people have played before you play yours. We then look at all the cards played, and whoever played the highest number goes first. So that person is going to take their card and place it here above the first crest. And then they get to do whatever the card says. This card says take one card. So they can take any one card here. Oh, they're going to take this king. Now when they take the king, they get to either add it to their hand so they can use it in the future, or immediately put it in front of them basically for scoring purposes at the end of the game. If you can't have more than 3 cards, so if that ever happens, you have to put them in front of you. So this one I'll put in front of me, right? Because that's going to be worth 2 shields. Then the next highest number is the knight here. So this knight is going to go here, and he takes 3 cards that are next to each other. So he takes these 3 cards. And again, he can score some of them, all of them, what have you. The next guy puts his here. He can take 3 cards next to each other, so he takes these 2 because he can't get 3. Then the king can take any 4 cards, however there's only 1 card left over, so he takes that one. If there were any cards left in the bottom row, and that's very possible if people had played cards that took fewer ones, then they would move up to the top. As it is, we just draw more cards up at the top like this, and then we do it again. So let's say now the first player plays this peasant here, who's going to take very exact cards. See, he gets 2 cards, but they have to be these 2 cards here when he plays those. The princess, who can take 2 different cards in a line from any spot that she wants to. Then we have the bishop. We'll talk about what he does in a second. And let's say then another peasant. Okay, so now we look at the numbers. So the highest peasant is a 47, so he goes here, and he takes these 2 cards exactly here. Then we have this peasant who takes these 2 cards exactly here. The princess can take any 2 cards, so she takes the king and him. The bishop does something different. Wherever he is placed, he's going to take one of these 2 bonus tokens and place it somewhere up here in the top. So let's say he takes the +4 bonus token and puts it here. And then another token's revealed. There's always 2 face-up tokens to choose from. Then the person who played the bishop will score the bishop in front of them. And they will also get to draw an extra card that they can score or keep in their hands. So then that round's over. This card comes down here. We draw 3 more cards, and we keep going until every card has a token on it, or if there's no cards left in the draw deck. When that happens, players are going to see who gets each bonus token. That's whoever has the most crests of that type. They're going to get the bonus token that's on there. Now the bonus tokens are going to be +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. There's also a peasant token, which gives you a point for each peasant that you have. There's a crest token where you get a point for each different type of crest you have, so this could be a +7. And then a ×2. Each person is worth 1 point per crest on them that you've scored in front of you. This will double that type. So if I have it on yellow, I would get double for all my yellow crests. Whoever has the most points is the winner. If there's a tie, whoever has the most kings wins. As you can see, if you've watched it, that to me is a really fascinating way to use cards. I really enjoy how you're playing cards, and it's almost like a a complicated bidding system. As you play a card, highest number gets to go first, but the rewards for the higher numbers are lower than the rest. I mean, playing a king lets you take any 4 cards. That's fantastic. But really, is there going to be anything left over? Now, kings are more powerful in fewer players. The game is 2 to 4, so in a 2-player game, kings are incredibly powerful. In a 4-player game, there's a good chance nothing will be there. So if you get a king card, it's usually better to score it than it is to add it to your hand. However, if some people play a bunch of peasants or things and they overlap, or they can't play their cards, or bishops, a king can really, you can take 4 cards. And I like that. I like the bishops being able to play out the bonuses, the knights grabbing any 2 cards, the princesses grabbing any 2 cards, the knights being able to grab 3 cards next to each other. It's very easy to play, although it will take a bit to comprehend exactly how it works, because essentially you're putting a card out there, and that card is going to become a reward for someone next turn. That card is basically letting you decide who's going to go first, and you watch how people play them, and what cards you're going to get. So all that kind of moves together, and it's a very fascinating way that the game is put together, and it doesn't take that long. We're talking 30 minutes tops here, but when it's done, it feels like, ooh, I was able to manipulate the cards the best. Or sometimes you'll take a card that isn't a lot of points, but you know next turn hopefully that card will really help you score. Very fun. I think it will play very differently each time because of the way the cards come out and the cards you have in your hand. Certainly one you should hunt down, and that is 7 Kingdoms. Very fun. Dice Tower Judgment, interesting and unique, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.